The topic is Brown versus the Board of Education and segregation in public education in the South. And of course, the guests are Ms. LWynn and Dr. LBaldwin. Dr. Baldwin, before we had our first commercial break, we promised that we would give you an opportunity as an historian involved in a number of issues dealing with social aspects to talk about segregation in the South during that period. And then Ms. Wynn will talk about some other things.
Speak on an autobiographical level. I mentioned growing up in Wilcox County, Alabama, which was one of the black belt counties, and I was really in elementary school when the Brown case was decided. And I remember quite well how the schools were rigidly segregated, and I also remember the high levels of defiance and resistance that came from the white South when this decision was made. White Southerners felt really attacked, under attack from the North. There had long been this extreme neurotic sensitivity to interference from outsiders. So when the case was handed down in 1954, there was a lot of defiance and resistance in the South. We at that time, I was about 5th grade, so we really didn't know much of what was going on at that time. I later learned as I moved into junior high and high school what this was all about. But segregation, the system was very segregated, not only in the schools, but you saw churches, and that was one thing that was always amazing to me, that you had segregation in churches. But the educational system was a segregated educational system. We received inferior facilities. Books were handed down from white schools to black schools. Our equipment was not as good. We had good educators, interestingly enough, but it was a rigidly segregated system, and a Brown v. Board of Education actually challenged that. And in response, of course, the black community was quite thankful, and quite, it was celebrated in the black community. But you got high levels of defiance and resistance in the white community.
You know, Ms. Webb, one of the things that we'd like to talk about, as we indicated, public education in the South, is to sort of examine some of those public educational institutions